Kicking off our team coverage tonight from Washington, and that is where Ashley McNamee is live with the latest in the cleanup there. Ashley?
Mac, I'm here standing in front of what used to be the Washington Estates neighborhood. It is almost completely demolished. There are still a few homes here on the edge of the neighborhood that are intact, parts of them still standing. I actually had a friend whose grandma lived in one of the houses right behind me. She had just had surgery and couldn't get down to the basement. She stayed on the upper level of her home against the one single wall that was not demolished by the tornado. She made it out alive, as did most people in Washington, as we reported. Only one death. The police chief believes that number will not rise. They say search and recovery efforts are for this time over. They believe that everyone is accounted for. Now, the big concern here tonight is residents trying to get in and out of the city of Washington. It just turned 6 o'clock. That means the curfew has taken effect. And the city and state police have placed tough restrictions on the access. Residents with whom we spoke say they're having a hard time getting into their house, even if it is not in one of the areas most directly affected by the storm. Police say they're trying to get those non-affected residents in as soon as possible, but right now their main and number one concern is all about safety.
The streets, most of them are passable, but they're not completely cleared off, of course. There's still some area where there's power lines, and they're working now to shut off the rest of the gas as well, so that it's not going to be an issue later on.
Earlier, the police chief and the mayor, Gary Manier, were very gracious about the outpouring of support they've received from everywhere across the area, but they say right now they're just not ready for volunteers. They're still working with IEMA, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, trying to figure out just how many of these homes are completely uninhabitable. Once they get through that, then they can start to move into the process of cleanup. At this point, there are about 17 people being treated for their injuries at hospitals in Peoria, 14 at OSF St. Francis Medical Center. 3 of those are still in critical condition. Meanwhile, Unity Point Health Methodist Hospital is treating 3 people. They are all in good condition. News 25's Marshana Hester spoke to one of those people recovering about their traumatic experience.
Joey Davidson is counting his blessings from his hospital bed at Unity Point Health Methodist. His visible battle wounds, scratches to his face and hands. Others, a cracked vertebrae, broken collarbone, and
I had a tree limb stuck in my skull. They pulled that out.
The Washington resident's wife and 2 children were not admitted to the hospital for their injuries. He credits their survival to having a plan to huddle under a utility sink in the basement.
We heard the roof go, we heard the top floor go of our 3-story house, and then it was total pandemonium for about 8 seconds with cinder blocks falling on us.
He says the washing machine kept the 2nd floor from crushing on top of them. The Davidsons hadn't lived long in their Washington neighborhood, and the thought of it being gone is hard to comprehend.
It was truly the most devastating thing we've ever saw, and it was unrecognizable. You really couldn't tell what street you were on, and we'll never be the same. It could be rebuilt, but a lot of those structures and houses that have been there since the 70s, and families for that matter, have lost everything.
With the help of family and friends, Joey says his wife recovered personal items like photos from the rubble. But he says his brush with death should remind everyone what's truly important.
Don't take things for granted, and tell your family you love them every day.
I'm Marshana Hester reporting.
For many of the residents who managed to escape injury and managed to make it into town today, they were trying to sift through all the rubble to recover any family memorabilia they had. There were some behind us most recently as 10 minutes ago. They've been asked to leave because of that curfew, but despite the devastation, many of them, like Mark Hawking, were carefully sifting through the glass and debris looking for family memorabilia. Hawking joked with family members several times as he looked through a mountain of rubble for family heirlooms. He says the tornado destroyed his 1969 classic Mustang that was inside his garage.
That's a lift. That's a 4-post lift that raised it up about 6 feet off the ground, and it was on the other side of the pickup truck. So it got rolled around pretty good. The motor's in the refrigerator.
His neighbors have been a great help helping him sift through all that rubble. Earlier when we talked to the mayor, he said he is proud to be a Washingtonian tonight. The community has really come together, banded together to try to weather through this storm and now the aftermath. Coming up about 6:30, we're going to have some live interviews with not only the mayor, the police chief, some Ameren officials, an insurance company, and many more. For now, reporting live in Washington, I'm Ashley McNamee. Back to you.